remember I went to see Enter the Dragon, and I came back and I said to Jerry Thorpe, have you seen this movie? And he said, no. And I said, you haven't? You got to see this movie. And I decided to make it mandatory that everybody on the crew see the movie.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Life Experience, the channel where we dive deep into the real stories behind the legends, the triumphs, the heartbreaks, and the adventures that shape who we are. Imagine this. It's the early 1970s. America is obsessed with westerns and action heroes like John Wayne and Clint Eastwood. But one man, a lightning-fast, philosophy-spouting powerhouse from Hong Kong, is about to flip the script on Hollywood. Bruce Lee, the guy who could do one-finger push-ups and shatter boards with a single punch, dreams up a groundbreaking TV show, a wandering Shaolin monk kicking butt in the Wild West. Sounds epic, right? But then, in a twist that reeks of old-school prejudice, Hollywood steals his idea, whitewashes it, and hands the lead role to a non-martial artist actor named David Carradine.
Why?
Racism, fear, and a system that wasn't ready for a Chinese hero. Today, we're uncovering the raw truth, straight from David Carradine's own words in later interviews, about why Bruce Lee was replaced, how it fueled his exile to Hong Kong, and the lasting legacy of this Hollywood betrayal. If you're a fan of martial arts, underdog stories, or just love seeing icons rise above the odds, you're in for a ride. Stick around till the end for some mind-blowing what-ifs and behind-the-scenes drama. And if this fires you up, hit that like button right now. It helps us bring more epic tales to your feed. But first, if you're new here, subscribe to Life Experience and join the adventure. We're all about exploring the wild twists of real life, from historical mysteries to modern inspirations. Turn on notifications so you never miss a beat. Let's jump in. Picture this. The sun sets over the dusty plains of the American West. A lone figure in flowing robes walks silently through a frontier town. He's a stranger in a strange land, armed not with guns, but with ancient wisdom and deadly fists. This isn't just any cowboy story. It's the vision of Bruce Lee, a man who blended Eastern philosophy with Western grit. But in the cutthroat world of 1970s Hollywood, dreams like this often got trampled under the boots of bigotry and business. This is the story of how Bruce Lee's groundbreaking idea for a TV series called The Warrior morphed into the hit show Kung Fu, and why he, the perfect fit for the lead role, was sidelined for David Carradine. It's a tale of creativity stolen, prejudice exposed, and one man's unyielding fight for respect. And years later, Carradine himself would break his silence. People should know the truth on why Bruce Lee was replaced by me. Buckle up, folks, this is going to be intense. Let's rewind to the late 1960s. Bruce Lee wasn't always the global icon we know today. Born in San Francisco in 1940 to a Cantonese opera star father and a Eurasian mother, Lee spent his early years in Hong Kong, where he dove headfirst into the world of martial arts. As a teenager, he trained in Wing Chun under the legendary Yip Man, honing skills that would make him unbeatable in street fights and local tournaments. But Hollywood, that was a different beast. Lee moved back to the U.S. at 18, settling in Seattle, where he opened his first martial arts school. Word spread fast. This guy wasn't just teaching punches, he was preaching a philosophy. Be like water, he'd say, adapting to any situation, flowing around obstacles. By the mid-1960s, Lee's charisma caught Hollywood's eye. He landed the role of Kato in The Green Hornet, 1966 to 1967, the loyal sidekick to Van Williams' titular hero. Kato wasn't the star, but Lee stole every scene. His lightning-fast kicks and nunchaku skills left audiences gasping. Fans wrote letters demanding more of that Chinese guy. Even superstars like Steve McQueen and James Coburn became his students, seeking the edge that Lee's Jeet Kune Do, his hybrid martial arts style, could provide. Jeet Kune Do, meaning way of the intercepting fist, wasn't rigid like traditional kung fu. It was fluid, practical, drawing from boxing, fencing, and whatever worked. Lee was revolutionizing fighting on screen and off. But here's where the frustration builds. Despite his talent, Lee was typecast. Hollywood saw him as the exotic sidekick, not the leading man. In guest spots on shows like Batman and Longstreet, he'd dazzle with cameos, but never the spotlight. I was too intense, too real, Lee later confided to friends. And too Asian. In an era when yellow-face, white actors in Asian makeup was still acceptable, think Mickey Rooney in Breakfast at Tiffany's, a genuine Chinese lead was a rarity. The Vietnam War raged on, filling TV screens with images of the enemy in Asia. Middle America, executives feared, wasn't ready for a hero who looked like the other. Enter Lee's big pitch, The Warrior. Around 1969 to 1970, Lee crafted a treatment for a series about a Chinese immigrant martial artist wandering the American West in the 1870s. Drawing from his own experiences as an outsider, Lee infused it with themes of alienation, justice, and cultural clash. The hero, Ah Sam, in early drafts, would face racism head-on. Anti-Chinese sentiment was rampant during the Gold Rush era, with laws like the Chinese Exclusion Act looming. But he'd overcome it not just with fists, but with wisdom from Shaolin teachings. Flashbacks to his monastery training would add depth, blending action with philosophy. This could change everything, Lee told his wife, Linda. He pitched it to Warner Brothers and Paramount, even demonstrating fight scenes in meetings. The response? Crickets at first. Executives loved the concept. Eastern mysticism meets Western adventure was fresh amid declining Westerns. But casting an Asian lead? America isn't ready, they said. Lee's accent, thick with Hong Kong inflections, was another excuse. Viewers won't understand him. Never mind that Lee's English was fluent, it was code for he's too foreign. In one infamous meeting, a producer reportedly said, "We need someone relatable, someone white." Lee left fuming, pacing his Los Angeles home. "They want the idea, but not me," he vented to Linda. It was a dagger to his ambition. Lee had poured his soul into The Warrior, seeing it as his ticket to stardom, a way to shatter stereotypes. Then, in 1971, Warner Brothers announces Kung Fu. The premise? A half-Chinese, half-American Shaolin monk named Kwai Chong Caine flees China after killing a royal nephew in self-defense. He wanders the American West, facing outlaws and prejudice, using martial arts and Zen-like calm. Sound familiar? To Lee's inner circle, it was blatant theft. Ed Spielman and Howard Friedlander are credited as creators, but similarities to The Warrior were uncanny, even the flashbacks to temple life. Lee's biographers, like Matthew Polly in Bruce Lee, A Life, argue Warner Brothers borrowed heavily, though legally it's murky. Spielman claims inspiration from Eastern philosophy books, but timing raises eyebrows. The real gut punch, casting. Bruce auditioned for Caine, wowing with demos. But producers passed. Too short, some said. Lee was 5 feet 7 inches. Too intense. The truth, per insiders? Race. Tom Kuhn, a Warner exec, later admitted, the network was afraid of casting a Chinese actor. ABC worried about advertisers and Heartland viewers. Instead, they chose David Carradine, tall, brooding, white. Carradine, son of character actor John Carradine, had theater creds and TV roles, but zero martial arts experience. "I wasn't a fighter," he admitted in interviews. Producers figured they could teach him basics, prioritizing accessibility over authenticity. Carradine knew the controversy. In a 1990s interview, he said, "Bruce was incredible. I had no business stepping into that role, but the executives made the decision." Years later, in a candid chat unearthed in documentaries, Carradine elaborated, "People should know the truth on why Bruce Lee was replaced by me. The studios were terrified. They didn't want risk. They didn't want an Asian lead on prime time." It was a rare admission from the man who benefited. Carradine respected Lee. They met briefly, exchanging nods in studio halls, but the tension was palpable. Lee reportedly joked bitterly to students, "They think a white man can be me better than I can." For Lee, this was rock bottom. It crystallized the barriers, as one friend put it. Hollywood's prejudice wasn't subtle. In The Green Hornet, producers forbade Kato from beating white villains too decisively, fearing backlash. Lee fought for realism, no wires, no gimmicks, but was overruled. The Kung Fu snub pushed him over the edge. "I will not wait for them," he vowed. In 1971, he packed up and returned to Hong Kong, where Golden Harvest producer Raymond Chow offered creative control. What followed was explosive. The Big Boss, 1971, smashed records, with Lee as a factory worker unleashing fury on thugs. His screams, board-breaking kicks, pure adrenaline. Fist of Fury, 1972, tackled colonialism, Lee avenging his master's death against Japanese foes. Then Way of the Dragon, 1972, where he directed, wrote, and starred, culminating in a Coliseum fight with Chuck Norris, iconic. Lee's films weren't just action, they were statements. Against oppression, for self-mastery. Empty your mind, be formless, he'd narrate. Meanwhile, Kung Fu premiered in 1972 to rave reviews. Carradine's cane was serene, quoting Confucius amid bar brawls. Critics praised the philosophy, but purists scoffed at the choreography. Slow, stylized, nothing like Lee's blaze. Carradine trained minimally, focusing on meditative stillness. They wanted an actor, not a martial artist, he said. The show ran 3 seasons, sparking America's Kung Fu craze. But the shadow loomed. What if Lee had starred? Would it have been grittier, faster? Carradine felt the weight. In private, he confided guilt. I knew he was the one meant to bring this to life. Lee's Hong Kong success circled back. Warner Brothers, seeing the buzz, co-produced Enter the Dragon, 1973, Lee's Hollywood breakthrough. Filmed in Hong Kong, it showcased his philosophy. Mirrors hall fight, nunchaku versus sticks. But tragedy struck. On July 20, 1973, Lee died at 32 from cerebral edema, possibly from painkillers. Enter the Dragon released posthumously, grossing millions, cementing his legend. Carradine's career soared post-Kung Fu. He starred in films like Bound for Glory, 1976, but always tied to cane. In later years, he revisited the role in Kung Fu. The Legend Continues, 1993 to 1997. Interviews grew reflective. In one 1993 magazine, he justified, Bruce was all flair and intensity. They needed quiet power. But he acknowledged race, the cultural climate. They cast me because I was safe. Carradine died in 2009, leaving a complex legacy, talented actor, but symbol of whitewashing. This story echoes today. HBO's Warrior, 2019, based on Lee's original treatment, thanks to daughter Shannon, finally realizes his vision with an Asian lead. It tackles Tong Wars in 1870s San Francisco, blending brutal fights with immigrant struggles. Dad would be proud, Shannon said. Hollywood's evolved, but scars remain. Think Crazy Rich Asians breaking barriers, or Shang-Chi starring Simu Liu. Lee's fight paved the way. As Carradine put it, Bruce was incomparable. What do you think? Was this prejudice warranted in the 70s, or pure injustice? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Did Hollywood rob us of a Bruce Lee TV era? Share this if it blew your mind. Phew, what a journey through one of Hollywood's biggest what-ifs. Thanks for watching this deep dive on life experience, where every story is a lesson in resilience and adventure. If you loved uncovering the truth behind Bruce Lee and David Carradine, smash that like button, share with your friends, and comment below. Who would you cast in a modern Kung Fu remake? And hey, don't forget to subscribe to Life Experience right now. Join the adventure with us for more untold tales, inspiring bios, and real-life epics. Hit the bell for notifications so you're always in the loop. Until next time, be like water, my friends, adapt, overcome, and keep pushing forward. Peace out.